Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, and welcome to day 3 of our walk through the Purpose Driven Life book by Rick Warren. And I don't know if you're reading along or not. Certainly, these talks daily are valuable because I'm reading through these chapters and then just giving the highlights on this show. However, I do encourage you to read the book yourself, and we can pick it up at our bookstore on Sunday at Saddleback, Laguna Woods, and Clubhouse 5, or on Amazon, or most of us have a copy at home already. We just got to find it. But if you don't read along, it's still going to be very valuable. Today's chapter, Rick asks a challenging, thought-provoking question. What motivates your life? And I would just paraphrase and say, when you get up in the morning, what is it that excites you about life and this day? When Solomon was observing life and writing it down in the book of Ecclesiastes, he wrote, I observed that the basic motive for success is the driving force of envy and jealousy. That was his experience, that he saw that a lot of people were driven by those factors. But there's so many. We don't have time to go into them, but I'm going to just mention them. And that's why if you have the book, you can delve into each one. But as we list them, what motivates you? What drives your life? What drives your life? Everybody has something. First of all, Rick says, many are driven by guilt. They just can't get over what they did at some point in life, and they dwell on it. That will never do. Many people today wandering through life without a purpose, but guilt drives them. Some people are driven by resentment or anger, and they just hold on to hurts. I've met people who that's really even what they want to talk about. We recently had a sermon on forgiveness at church, and I had several tell me, I just can't do that. My hurt was so bad that I cannot give it up. And they dwell on it. It's a sadness. Those who have hurt you, I will add, Rick adds, they cannot continue to hurt you unless you let them and you hold on to the pain. No, this as a motivator or a driving factor in life does not work. Many people are driven by fear of lots of different things, and it makes them just afraid to venture out. Afraid, they want to play it safe. Rick is listing all these because it's kind of a motivation to keep reading in the book, because the purpose-driven life replaces these and other motivators with the purposes that God has for your life. And those are the ones that are fulfilling. I feel a little frustrated because we're not going to come to him today, although he does mention some things. Many people are driven by materialism, and isn't that the case? They just feel that if I can get enough stuff, I'll be secure. I'll be secure in life. Sometimes it's to impress others. But self-worth and net worth are not the same. And I'm not sure you can ever get enough. And security, I mentioned that doesn't come from great wealth. Wealth can be taken from you immediately. In fact, in some ways, once you acquire great wealth, then the motivator is just to hang on to it, and it almost becomes a fear of losing it. I know you've experienced that. If you buy a new car, I've seen so many people park it way off so that make sure There's no scratches ever. Sometimes items control us. Many people driven by the need for approval from other people. And that never works either. Peer pressure or what others think of us. And it's a spinning wheel. You can never quite get there. But you know, whatever your motivation, if it's anything other than the Lord, then it doesn't work. Jesus said, no one can serve two masters. And he's making the point that you've got to be serving the Lord. And that's your purpose. That's your motivating, driving overall purpose. That we'll break that down as this book goes on. But the bottom line is living for Jesus is the only fulfilling purpose there is. And we're going to learn how to better do that as we go on. In the second half of this chapter, Rick lists some benefits of the purpose-driven life. And let me just give you a few. Number one, knowing your purpose gives meaning to life. Man, he quotes a young man who said, I feel like a failure because I'm struggling to become something. And I don't even know what it is. All I know is that how I get by. Someday I'll discover my purpose and I'll feel like I'm beginning to live. That's so insightful. Because the truth is exactly that. Without God, life has no purpose. And without purpose, life has no meaning. And that's why I think this few weeks of study that you and I are going to do together in this such important book are so important to me and to you. We need to have purpose in life. And you know what? God has a purpose for you. Do you know Jeremiah 29:11? It's a verse that maybe you just didn't know where it was. Let me read it to you. I know, God says, what I am planning for you, good plans for you, not plans that will hurt you. I have good plans for you, not bad plans that will hurt you, he says. I will give you a hope and a good future. Jeremiah 29:11. God has a plan for you, and it's for good. But our part is to live and fulfill the purposes that God has for us. Knowing our purposes simplifies our life because you know what you want to do that day, what you want to do. Knowing your purpose helps focus your life. Knowing your purpose motivates your life. And knowing your purpose prepares you for eternity. Because you see, that's what this life is all about. Preparing for the future. Because one day, and Rick makes this point in this chapter, one day all of us will stand before God. And basically, he's going to ask us two questions. The first one is, what did you do with my son Jesus? Did you keep him as a part of your life, the important part of your life? Or did you reject him? And if you reject Jesus, then he's not going to make you spend eternity in heaven with him. You choose your own fate on that. And the second question is, well, what did you do with what I gave you? And he's not just talking about money, he's talking about times, abilities, skills. What did you do to help advance the kingdom of God? Rick makes the point that by the end of this book, you're going to know what the correct answers to both of those questions are. What a blessing. I sure hope you'll join us back here tomorrow as we continue our walk through the purpose-driven life.
Oh, come to the Father through Jesus the Son and give him